What's up, y'all? Slate Almighty, and I'm back with another Power Book 2 Ghost. Season 4 Theory and Prediction. Let's have us a little ranking system today, and let's talk about the most savage of the Tejadas, and let's rank them in order from the least savage to the most savage. Now, I would say when we starting at 5, it's probably unanimously agreed upon, but as we get to the middle towards number 1, it's going to get more and more debatable. Now, starting at number 5, we have Diana Tejada. Now, the thing about Diana Tejada is she's the person who has the potential to be the most savage, right? Because of reasons that I can't say right now because we have to get through the rest of these names first. But she has the potential to be the most savage out of everyone because even though she hasn't killed yet, she has the mind to become a savage. You know what I'm saying? She executes herself in a manner to where you see the woman who she can become if she allows herself to deeply be involved in the streets and the drug trade even more and even more and even more. Now, the reason why she's number 5 and she's at the bottom of the list is because she has not committed a murder yet. However, we can all pretty much unanimously agree that if Diana went 3 seasons without committing any murder, but by the last episode of last season, she was framing people for murder and getting people shot at, the next thing for her to do is catch a murder. So it's safe to say that Diana will officially join the rest of the Tejada family in the family tradition of becoming a murderer at a young age, right? It's safe to say that that's going to happen. I also have a theory on who her first kill is going to be, but that's going to be in a separate video. If you're watching or listening to this video right now, then this is the video that's going to happen before I drop that video, right? But without further ado, let's get to number 4 on this list. And number 4 being Lorenzo. Now, even though Lorenzo did a whole bunch of time, even though the backstory of Lorenzo is he was in the streets a lot, we have to base it off of what we've seen on screen. Now, what we've seen on screen with Lorenzo, the reason why he can't be higher is because I've seen the other 3 family members, Monet, Drew, and Kane, do more savage shit. But if we're gonna talk about all the savage things that we've seen from Lorenzo, okay, first of all, Lorenzo is grimy. We seen him set up Drew, get Drew violated, right? Just so he could cover up his own behind when it came to who killed Zeke. Why? Because he was scared of Monet, who is more savage than him, which is why she's definitely gonna be higher up on this list. You see Lorenzo have enough pull to where he had eyes on Tariq's mother from a whole different jail. Lorenzo also ran the jail he was in. He had phones. He was doing whatever he wanted. You know, he had extra conjugal visits. When Kane got into it with Monet, Lorenzo got Kane viciously beat up by the guards while he was in prison. Now, you gotta be a savage. You gotta have pull to do that. But when we talk about what he done once he came home, okay? He killed Zeke. That's not gangster. He thought Zeke was Mecca. Now, if it had been Mecca, then it would have been gangster. It would have been savage. But he made a stupid mistake with that. Now, he was only seen in what? 2 other shootings besides that. One shooting was when he first came home and he effed over some guy who was associate of his in the past, him and Drew. Well, they did that, but in that scenario, Drew was more savage than him in that scenario, you know what I'm saying? It was what? The first time we seen Drew catch a kill on screen? I believe it was that time, right? And trust me, Drew is higher up on this list as well, right? And then the other time, we seen Lorenzo save Kane's life in the middle of a shootout. Once they did that gun transaction deal with, the informants and all of that stuff. Now, although it's gangster, it's not as savage as the final three people in the Tejada family. As we go to the top three, you know who's left. Monet is left, Kane is left, and Drew is left. But the person who I have at number 3. Now, 3 and 2 is going to be debatable depending on who you are and your opinion of how it went. Now, to me, it goes back and forth. But currently where I stand in the Who's More Savage rankings, I have Kane as number 3 and I have Drew as number 2. And I will explain why, okay? So now, Kane here at number 3. The fact that he killed Uncle Frankie and then he chopped his body up and things of that nature, right? That's almost good enough to put you at the top of the list. But then I think about all the things he's done. I think about the mistakes he's made. I think about the stupidity that he showed all of season 1 and part of season 2. And I just feel like Drew edges him out because Drew makes stupid mistakes too, but the way Drew caught some of these bodies to me is just like more of a, like, this guy's a psychopath. He's a psychopath who's emotional. His emotions make him become a psychopath. Whereas Kane is, to me, less of a psychopath, more of just an enforcer, a gangster, a murderer. For example, right, you got Kane. Kane did get emotional. He killed the officer. All right, fine. That's cool. But when we talk about savage murders, just the most savage of murders, there's not a lot more savage murders than when Drew got mad because his boy toy dumped him, and then he went to Wall Street, and then he pushed the drug dealer, and the drug dealer got smashed by the truck. Very, very savage, all right? And next, when you got him, where he killed where without hesitation, you thought he was gonna be scary when Lorenzo came, and Lorenzo was like, hey, son, we're gonna take over this territory, and then they bust in the spot, and Drew, without hesitation, pulled out, boom, headshot right then and there. That's very gangster. And I personally feel like Kane has not caught a more savage murder than Drew did with the guap, where he got rid of the gun, or he dropped the gun or something like that. I'm not too sure. But the gun ends up out of Drew's hand, and Drew kills the man with his bare hands, just chokes the life out of him. Chokes the living life out of him, literally, and puts him down. Even though we all knew Drew was going to eventually kill him, we thinking it's going to be just a gunshot, boom, pow to the head, in the staircase, leave him slumped. But it got real dramatic. He just choked the life out of him. I just feel like Drew has more savage kills than Kane. That's why I have Kane at number 3, and I have Drew at number 2. And without further ado, come on now. We all know Monet. Monet is the most savage Tejada. We've seen Monet kill in so many creative ways. She viciously murdered the construction worker, which was Diana's fault. Because Diana took the money. Monet thought it was him. Monet pushed his wig back very viciously. And then how she killed DC Joe. And how she killed DC Joe's boss. All savage. And then let's not talk about the fact that, people assume that maybe Davis helped Monet kill Carrie Milgram. No, it didn't happen. Monet, to keep Carrie away from her son Zeke, killed the woman and then hung her to make it look like she committed suicide. Come on now. Or rather, she hung her and left her there and still made it look like a suicide. Come on now. And then let's not mention how the woman told her son's lover. The woman blamed her son's lover on their father's murder and had her baby father, Lorenzo, viciously murdered. By the way, Lorenzo gotta be at the bottom of the list because out of all the gangster stuff you did your whole entire life, how do you allow yourself to get set up that way? How do you allow yourself to get caught lacking that way? Come on now, like, you should be ashamed of yourself, Lorenzo. You're the most savage person, but we expected to be the most savage. We all know when Power Book 2 Ghost first started, we expected Lorenzo to be the biggest savage out of the whole family. We expected Lorenzo to come home and be a real threat, but instead, he got killed by a Skittles gangster. Cool. By the way, too, as someone who has gay people in their family, as someone who's been locked up with gay people are that gangster. They can't get that gangster, but that's another story, right? But let's talk about Monet again, right? Monet got, I forgot dude's name, but dude that was in the Fresh movie, right? She got dude's head cut off, blamed him for some stuff that he didn't even do. First of all, and to top it all off, yes, Kane killed the officer. Yes, officers get murdered, but the way Monet killed Officer Whitman or Detective Whitman, either way, that's the same thing, ain't it? But the way she lined him up, used Diana, forced Diana to be an accomplice to murder, but really said, you know what, the only way to protect my family is to get rid of this cop right here who's too thirsty, even if Diana don't want no parts. That is gangster. She got way more savage kills than, anybody else in Power Book 2 Ghost that we've seen so far. You know? Noma is the bigger threat, but the most gangster thing we seen Noma do is chop off a woman's whole arm for a wedding ring. You know? Her slicing Obi's face, it's gangster, it's savage, but it ain't nothing compared to what Monet did. So let's say from 5 to 1 again, it was Diana at number 5, Lorenzo at number 4, I had Kane at number 3, I had Drew at number 2, and of course the big boss, Big Vel, Monet, we had to put at number 1. Why? Because she's the HBIC. So let's hope she has a speedy recovery and she gets back to her savagery in season 4, even though I feel like she's probably gonna go the James St. Patrick route. She's gonna try to phase herself out the game, even though it won't be easy. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Do you agree with my order? What's your order in order of the most savage Tejadas? Place your rankings in the comment section. Also, I want to let you guys know that I have other playlists on this channel. I have my Rikers Island and prison playlist where I talk about my time in prison, all the craziest violent stories that I know of, where I also interview people who did time in prison. I also got my Real Talk playlist on my channel. Y'all go ahead and look for that, where I just keep it real about everything. I also got a playlist where I'm talking about dating, where I'm talking about women, sex, and things like that. Go ahead and check that out. This channel definitely has way more to offer than what you see here, even though this is one of my favorite things to do. I also have industry current events where I talk about things that's going on in the entertainment field, the hip-hop entertainment field, and all things that's related to that. Also, if you made it to the end of this channel, if you made it to the end of this video, and you like the content that I make, feel free to send $1 donation to the Cash App, man. J Peterson 91. Holla at me.